Following his private burial yesterday at his beloved church, the Basilica of Santa Maria Maggiore, the tomb of Pope Francis will be accessible to the public in Rome this Sunday. Authorities reported that hundreds of thousands of people gathered along the streets to pay their respects as his coffin was transported from the Vatican after his funeral on Saturday. Large crowds assembled in St. Peter's Square for the principal service, which was graced by the presence of numerous heads of state and royal dignitaries. The Vatican has unveiled new images of Pope Francis. The tomb where he was interred yesterday has been reported by our religion editor Ali Makbul. St. Peter's Basilica, named in honor of the apostle, regarded by Catholics as the inaugural pope, features curved colonnades that symbolize the welcoming embrace. This magnificent setting served as the backdrop for the farewell to the 266th pope. Within the basilica, prior to the funeral mass, dignitaries, including the Prince of Wales, had a final opportunity to pay their respects alongside Saki Starmer and numerous other world leaders present. The audience erupted in applause upon the arrival of President Zelensky. By mid-morning, the invited guests had taken their places, with clergy positioned on the right and politicians alongside sovereigns on the left. Additionally, at the request of Pope Francis, other attendees included prison inmates, migrants, and victims of torture. Outside St. Peter's Square, 250,000 individuals awaited the proceedings. To commence the ceremony, the body of Pope Francis was processed through the basilica, accompanied by his mitre or papal hat and his pastoral staff within the coffin. The coffin, accompanied by a scroll detailing his life and papacy, was met with gentle, spontaneous applause from the vast crowd as it was brought into the light. Its 14 bearers carried it to the forefront of this magnificent arena, presenting it to the world without the use of a platform, as Pope Francis had requested that his coffin rest on the ground. While certain aspects of the funeral have been simplified in accordance with the instructions left by Pope Francis, the significance of the occasion remains profound. The ritual, tradition, and spectacle were vividly showcased on this magnificent stage. Cardinal Giovanni Battista Re, aged 91, officiated the Mass and presented the homily. He highlighted Pope Francis's concerns, including his stance against war, his commitment to environmental issues, and his advocacy for the dignity of migrants, while referencing several important papal visits. Notably, Pope Francis's inaugural trip was to Lampedusa, an island that epitomizes the tragedy of migration, having witnessed the plight of thousands. A tragic incident of drowning at sea coincided with a mass celebration held at the border of Mexico and the United States. The audience responded with applause during discussions of these events, although some politicians may have felt uneasy. Following the Mass, a concluding blessing was offered for Pope Francis. However, unlike previous popes, he would not be interred at St. Peter's Basilica. Instead, he would be transported in a modified popemobile to his preferred location at another basilica situated in central Rome. Over 150,000 individuals gathered to witness the event. The street served as a farewell, symbolizing the bond he shared with the public. Upon arriving at the Pope's destination, a gathering of individuals from homeless shelters awaited his arrival, alongside clergy members who would take part in the concluding segment of today's ceremonies. In a private setting, the late Pope was interred in a tomb marked with a single word, the Latin form of his selected name, Franciscus. This information comes from religion editor Ali Magpul. Additionally, Andrea Tonielli, the media editor for the Holy See, provided insights. I was asked to describe my experience at the Pope's funeral. I found the ceremony to be both simple and beautiful, with the faithful taking the spotlight. Approximately 400,000 individuals gathered in the square and streets of Rome. It is important to recall that just a week prior, the Pope had his final meeting with the public in St. Peter's Square, and yesterday, The people returned to embrace him once more. I was moved by the presence of representatives from various faiths, which left a profound impact on me. The encounter between President Trump and President Zelensky was marked by Pope Francis's enduring call for peace, which defined his papacy until the very end. This meeting between the two leaders can be regarded as the final small miracle of Pope Francis, as it held significant symbolic value. Regarding the sentiments among Vatican officials about the upcoming process of electing a new pope, it is essential to exercise patience and await the gathering of the cardinals. Therefore, it is premature to discuss this matter at present. Pope Francis's legacy is characterized by his emphasis on mercy throughout his pontificate. He has portrayed a church that is welcoming and inclusive, likening it to a field hospital rather than a customs house. His approach has been marked by compassion and proximity to all, particularly the marginalized, the impoverished, and those who have sinned. This message of mercy has resonated deeply with the people who have embraced his teachings. During the recent World Youth Day, he reiterated that the Church serves as a welcoming home for all individuals. This message is crucial for the Church's current mission. There is widespread discussion about his legacy, particularly regarding the promotion of mercy, and he enjoyed immense popularity. Do you believe this represents a natural progression for the Church in the future? It is difficult to determine at this moment, as the cardinals must engage in discussions during this period. The future of the Church will commence next Monday with the Assembly of Cardinals. All electors are required to arrive in Rome to engage in discussions regarding this matter. Additionally, we have received recent images from the Vatican depicting the tomb of Pope Francis, located in the Basilica of Santa Maria Maggiore, where he was interred following a solemn and impactful funeral service held on Saturday evening. Hundreds of thousands of attendees are present. Importantly, today the public will have the opportunity to visit the Basilica and pay their respects at the tomb of Pope Francis, which bears his name, Francis, inscribed in Latin, reflecting his papal identity.